Monitoring spirits. Hello again, thank you for being here with me once more. I hope you are happy and very well today. I am Mari. This information can be seen as science fiction, or as the viewer sees best, and I post it for entertainment purposes only. Still, I take my information very seriously, and for whoever has eyes to see. As I have been explaining in other videos about paranormal and astral subjects, there is a lot more out there than what meets the eye, much more than what science on Earth violently pushes, as a materialistic and deterministic reality. Earth science limitations I've talked about in other videos, and the very 5 or maybe 6 senses of the human body, lock the soul's perception into believing that only what they can perceive is real. But what those 5 or 6 human senses can detect and the super-controlled and limited science there, make up a false reality that is only a small fraction of the greater one, which finally is only the result of the limited belief systems that make up the matrix on Earth. And souls go there for the learning experience, they say, therefore even the Galactic Federation does its best to avoid any kind of contamination, or corroboration that there is anything more, anything greater than what those 5 or 6 human senses and their corroborating limited science can convey. But, as I've said before, being in ignorance of the greater reality that surrounds you, makes you vulnerable to manipulation, most of the time to your detriment only. Not everyone there has a soul, many are false people. They are empty shells with an open door for influence and possession by entities in the lower astral, who use them, and who work through them, as the organic entrance portals that they are. Then we have other people who do have a soul, which is the connection to Source, or the deep knowledge that they are Source, but who have fallen into the routines, and the illusions of the matrix, believing the material, scientifically proven world is all there is, and therefore becoming involuntary puppets being used by all kinds of lower astral entities. These people with a soul, if they go down the road of matrix temptations, of money and power, among others, can end up losing their soul, their connection to Source, becoming an empty shell themselves. Or their soul can end up being displaced by a lower astral entity, who cherishes the original soul's life and social position, also because all of that can be useful for the lower astral entities, and their plans. People with no souls are only more projections, and more egregore manifestations created by the powerful minds of those who do have souls, of those walking the earth who are Source itself. And they can only work with a limited program, and with limited interactivity, so they quickly react defensively, perhaps being irritable and imposing, whenever something a person with a soul does or says is forcing them away from their limited program. Another way of seeing this is when a person thinks that they already know everything and, therefore, likes to sit, dwelling in their own satisfaction, not caring to think, nor question anything more. The matrix on Earth has many levels to it, starting from the lower astral and its mostly egregore entities, then moving to the material world everyone knows, and then to the more expanded galactic reality, that blends away into the higher astral planes of existence, from where everything is being manifested. On Earth, the lower astral has an enormous influence over the material world and its inhabitants, as they manipulate people and society in general, so humans unknowingly and unwillingly feed those entities with the lower vibration creative attention they need to continue existing. And that is a very big factor which explains why there is so much chaos and suffering on Earth, and ultimately, why living there is so challenging, even when it is meant to be so, as without those challenges, there wouldn't be any place in the universe to learn from those hard experiences, but that is another subject. High vibration people and souls who incarnate, or who are visiting Earth and its society are a menace to those entities, because they elevate the existential frequency of the entire planet. Most of them are starseeds, souls who have lived and evolved on other planets, with much more advanced civilizations, and with much higher ethics and spiritual concepts and awareness. Those souls have such a high frequency that the mere fact of being there on Earth elevates the entire planet's vibration, even when they are at their worst, and feeling sad and depressed. But a lot more so when they are actively engaging in activities which elevate other people, and that spread awareness of the greater reality that surrounds you all there on Earth, and elsewhere in the universe, as well. When they are not only starseeds, but lightworkers as well, although I don't like to use other people's terms and words, because they can be loaded. For example, lightworker can also be interpreted as working for Lucifer, and that is not taken as a good meaning when looking into the semantics closely. And then we would segue into other complicated subjects like whether Lucifer was good or bad and fallen angels and so on. When positive starseeds work for the improvement of humankind, when they do their best efforts to spread their truths to the rest of the population, seeking more people to awaken to the existence of greater, more expanded realities, and a better, more positive way of living, they become a powerful force against the Matrix and its overlords, in all their kinds and levels. Such powerful souls become a grave threat to the Matrix and all its structure, so they cannot be left alone. This is where the Matrix, for lack of a better term, will send monitoring souls and dark lower astral entities working through organic portals, to shadow what those positive people are doing. They can literally report all that they see, to their lower astral entities who have it in their best interests, to keep the human population in distress, fear, and generally in lower vibratory states, where they can continue to exploit their suffering. This way from the lower astral side, those entities, which are a great part of what shapes the Matrix on Earth, will send their minions to sabotage, stop, or make the positive person's work as difficult as possible. Those minions come in different shapes, starting with the lower astral entity, which can move or influence other people in the material world, as well as objects there, to interfere with the starseed's work. Then we have the full organic portal, which is in reality a lower astral entity using a human body vehicle to work against the positive people and starseeds in the material world. Besides those organic portals, there are people with a soul, but who are easily influenced and manipulated by those dark entities, so they do things in their favor and detriment of the starseeds and their positive mission. This means that you must all be aware of who surrounds you all the time, and with whom you interact, and I mean not only be careful with people who you do not know, or not well enough, and who may act against you, but also of acquaintances, friends, and family members, especially those who you know do not agree with your choices in life, and with your positive activities. Quoting the movie, The Matrix. Whoever is not yet unplugged from the system, can act as an agent of it. End quote. Those dark entities who are working against you, will use your empathy and the love you may have for those friends and family members, to guilt you into talking too much about what you are doing and about your plans. This is why you must work in silence, telling people around you as little as possible about your work, preferably on a need-to-know basis. Do not fall into the temptation of telling them your life and plans simply to be nice to them, so stop your starseed, people-pleasing tendencies, right there, beautiful ones, as that only ends up working against you. Those people are sent to research what you are doing, so they can go back and inform their overlords, and then those will have the necessary information to send other agents to interfere, and even stop what you are doing. Some of these monitoring spirits are somewhat easy to detect, as they present themselves as nosy neighbors who watch what you are doing with too much interest. They can also be an acquaintance you haven't seen in a long time, and who you casually find walking by the street, and who suddenly asks you details about your life which do not concern him or her. For example, what you are doing, what are you dedicating your time to, and so on, almost as if they have a little notebook, where they go writing down all your answers. Keep your life details and plans as private as possible, learn to be creative, and excuse yourself away from giving the answers they wish. As an example, which is used by one of our Taygetan team members, who usually goes down to earth to purchase food and necessary things, and because Taygetans tend to go down to the same well-known places, where they may encounter people who recognize them, but not as an ET. When asked, "What do you do for a living?" he simply answers, "I am an accountant," and that may be enough of an answer for most people, where the conversation usually drifts away. But if that person becomes too inquisitive, and asks more about it, more about what he does as an accountant, the Taygetan team member will simply answer back, "Oh no, I am not that kind of accountant. What I count is people who ask me what I do, and you are number 287. You may see his answer as rude, but remember that the other person is also being rude by over-questioning him, and that answer is only taken as a bad joke. As they say, do not tell anyone about your plans, only surprise them with your results. This is also why it can be a good idea to disappear for some weeks or even months, so you can work on your projects alone and with no interference. And this is also why many people grow and thrive when they manage to move away from their hometown, where they are widely known and treated as always. All this I have been describing can also be explained in a more mundane psychological way, yet from my point of view, there isn't such a thing as mundane psychological events, as they all have a strong astral component. Some of those other explanations can be envies which lead to bad-mouthing, and gossip about what you do, as well as very physical people conspiring to stop you, as your plan may go against theirs. Then there is another effect in your brain, which is that if you talk too much about what you plan to do, in your mind it is as if you have already done it, so you no longer have the motivation to actually do all those things, because you have already consumed the satisfaction of sharing your plans with your peers. Then there is the flip side of all this. When you associate yourself with good, like-minded people, you reinforce and help each other, so you grow as a group. So, choosing your friends wisely is a very important part of success in life. Even that group itself must also act in secrecy to its plans, only sharing things in a need-to-know basis or manner, and with as much compartmentalization as possible, so the agents of the Matrix and their dark entities and minions can have it as difficult as possible to detect and know what you are doing. But being wise with what you say and share is especially important when working alone, remember that. This brings me to another word of caution. This is yet another reason why alcohol and social drinking are so dangerous, as they cause people to lose their logical minds and inhibitions, making them over-blabby and over-talkative, spilling all the details about what they are doing and planning. And this is no coincidence, as drinking alcohol makes people vulnerable and compatible with lower astral entities and spirits. That's why alcohol is called spirits as well. You must know that all languages are based on esoteric terms, where words are spells, and have a strong influence on the etheric realms, and by them as well. This is especially so for the English language. Words are spells. Alcohol beverages are spirits, because they bring those to you, and all over you. As you work in silence, and only with your close like-minded friends and colleagues, you will have more control over your frequency and over your time, and this will elevate your vibration to be compatible with your spirit guides and with your higher self, who is you again in a timeless state in higher existential realms. And those do have your best interests in mind and heart. Those are with whom you must mingle with, protect yourself from the others, and be wise, beautiful star seeds out there. I am proud of you all. Thank you for watching my video, and for liking, sharing, and subscribing for more. And I hope to see you here next time. With much love, your friend, Mari Swaruu.